Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Old Golden Chat. Back finally after a Wolves win. Can you believe it? It's so special that we've even had to go and get 3 guests this time. Welcome, boys. How are you? Liam, how are you, mate?
Buzzing, mate. What a win. How are you?
I'm all right. Feels like a fresh new year for me. Wolves have picked up 4 points. We're unbeaten in the league, and I've started my new shifts at work, so I'm thoroughly happy. Nat, how are you, mate? Welcome back.
Yeah, very well, mate. Just wondering. Obviously, we've got Alex on the podcast as well. I thought we only had proper Wolves fans on the podcast, not people that tune into Match of the Day on a Saturday.
Where's the loyalty, Moors?
Mate, where was you in the Glenn Hoddle days? Where was you in the Dave Jones days?
Yeah, fair. Score draw match.
Good draw. Moors, welcome back. How are you, mate? You okay?
Thank you very much for having me. I'm very well, thank you. Happy New Year to everybody. Hope you all had a good festive break, and I'm obviously great after Saturday.
Let's get into a match review then, boys. Wolves 3, Rob Edwards 3, Nuno Espirito's West Ham United 0. Can you believe it? Can you even believe it that I'm going to say with Jhon Arias scored the opening goal, boys?
And a Hwang assist.
And a Hwang assist and a Hwang goal. Christ, what world are we living in? 2026 has got something in offer for the lot of us, in it, really. Let's jump to that first. So, Rob Edwards has somehow provided a masterclass and moved Jhon Arias into centre midfield. He started there against Manchester United in the week, and it's played fruitful for him at the minute. What do you think, bud?
Yeah, 3 words, mate. We're so back. So back.
So back.
In all seriousness, obviously, United game, really positive result. Arguably should have picked up all 3. And then we're all sort of looking at the game, just gone and thinking, can we take that momentum into West Ham, into a game that you're looking at it on paper? Both teams really struggling, us more so than them, but they're in a really tricky moment. No better time to play them. I saw a lot on social media of West Ham fans sort of fearing playing against us because we were also up for it on such a high from the United game. And it was just nice to see us start really well and get that first goal, go in front in a game. And you could just see how much it lifted the players, the supporters. There was a real belief, I think, from the whistle, to be honest, and then it only got stronger throughout that first half. Rob Edwards, for the amount of people, and I will call out a few fans that I see on social media saying that he'd made us worse. You're looking at it now and you're thinking, just have a bit of patience, please. Not that I'm a big Take That fan, but have a little patience. Just the balance of the team. I think it's something that I've called out prior in previous pods. We've not had that balance sort of in the midfield, especially because we've got a lot of characters, a lot of players that have similar characteristics. And I think he's rolled the dice, whoever's decision that is, whether it's Rob himself or Harry or Rui coming in as well, because that seems like the results have picked up and it's been quite timely. Coincidence maybe, but whoever's decision it has been to change the midfield in the manner that they have, because let's be honest, I don't think anybody sitting on this call now would have expected to see a midfield 3 of Gomez, Arias and Mane. But just so refreshing to have 2 players in there with Joe Gomez that can pick the ball up, back to goal or facing their own goal, take the ball on the half turn and want to go forward straight away. It's just such a big kind of change and a positive midfield now, rather than having 2 players right alongside each other, finding the pockets, getting on the ball, receiving, driving at players, and the goals that we're scoring. It's no surprise that they've come from us getting on the ball and playing forward passes. Something that I think I called out on the last podcast that I was on. We were getting the ball and we go sideways, and then there's not a lot. Now we look at a team that they've got players that will go and play sort of in the sort of channel, central channel, and link up with your wing backs and the 9 that is out there. So yeah, listen, it was a really strong first half performance. I thought, as you can imagine, they're a little bit shaky second half. Maybe shaky is not the right word, but they wanted to kind of preserve what they had. They didn't want to concede an early goal. A little bit of nervousness, but again, like West Ham 0 shots on target. Can we just say, like Jose Sarr, for as many hammerings that he's got and days where he's come away with a lot of criticism, he was phenomenal. He claimed things, he punched everything away. He just looked really assured. And I think that's the biggest thing. There were so many assured performances on the pitch. Tolu probably had his best game to date. Bullied Kilman, bullied Mavropanos, so effective in the air. Hwang just came to life, didn't he? As you guys touched on, was involved, get on the ball in good areas, used it quite well. Shout out to Hugo Bueno, had a bit of a spell out of the game, so positive going forward, proactive with his movement. So yeah, there was a real culmination of good things, and hats off to all the lads.
Yeah, I agree.
It was just one of them where we were just desperate to win, weren't we, and get behind the team. And as soon as we started, I think Mosquera had it in the right-hand corner, and we just didn't look like we had an option, and we kind of like gave it away a little bit, and we looked really nervous, and I was thinking, oh man, please don't be like this. And Somerville was a bit sharp, weren't he, on the ball, but then we just seemed to click, didn't we? And Mane, I think he set the tone for us winning the ball earlier up the pitch quicker. So then it looks like the likes of Arias and Hwang are actually starting to step into that and doing that as well. And you've got 3 players winning that ball there. Perfect for João Gomez. All he's got to do is just give it them and let them play. Like Nat said, Tolu absolutely bullied their 2 centre-halves. And I think anything that went in that air, even if he looked like he was 30% chance of winning it, he was just flicking it on or knocking it down, weren't he? He's touched on Hugo Bueno. I think he had Bowen in his pocket. I said last week, I thought Bowen could have won the game. He didn't get a sniff. He didn't got nowhere, did he? That was Asa, like you said, punched everything. He was superb. It was a really good game, and I'm so glad for Rob Edwards because he absolutely deserved it. He did like 2 laps around the pitch at the end, and he was like in best time of his life. It looked like he was having. I think West Ham look like they're going to have to make signings. I think they're going to be down there, but we've seen it coming. We played well against Liverpool and Man United. We just needed that bounce at home, didn't we? And I'm looking at that Everton week in midweek now, and I'm thinking, you know what, we can go there with that team and that setup. We can cause them problems, I think. And I think I said to you, Dan, about Arias. His work off the ball was superb, and we haven't seen that. And me and you, I've probably said it to you, that I used to think he was a bit lazy. I take all that back because the way he played against West Ham, he'd run his socks off and absolutely fair play. And like, players came on the pitch, and for once, I don't think we looked weaker. We looked like we were still solid. Like when Andre came on and he was switched for João Gomez, it was perfect for Andre just to mop up everything. He didn't need to, precise on the ball. He just mopped up everything and gave it on the quick counter. Like Molineux came on and just steadied the ship. He looked like he was playing like CDM mode, and everyone looked a little bit more confident. It was just refreshing to watch. And like the likes of Santi Breno, the way he can just move up the pitch with that ball. I don't know. I don't even see Callum Wilson playing. I forgot he was on the pitch. I don't think he even touched the ball, did he? We was just perfect man for man. And I'm just delighted and buzzing that we got the 3 points at home.
Absolutely. I'm glad you mentioned Santi Breno at the end there, because you mentioned Santi Breno and Callum Wilson in the same breath. How nice was it, if you boys remember, in the first half when we were just a little bit sloppy in midfield and ball came through with West Ham. Callum Wilson's pretty much running straight through on goal, and he's only got Santi Breno back. And that one-on-one defending was superb by Santi Breno. It really was. He just marshalled him outside. Callum Wilson had no support around him. It kind of felt like watching sort of over the past few months, to be honest, because he had absolutely no one around him. Santi Breno just marshalled him out towards the wing, and he just didn't have a clue what to do with it. And fair play to Santi Breno, because he just has this knack of performing really, really well. Yet he's kind of like, he's the first person who, when a new manager comes in, just does it right and takes away the team. And I'm not criticising Rob Edwards for that either. I think he had a hard choice when he came in of who to play. But Santi Breno, I think, deserves his flowers at some point, because he's just stepping up to the plate almost every time. Morse, what did you think about the game, right?
Oh, well, personally, no, people know me as a bit of a pessimist. You just got to remember that was an awful West Ham side that have made us look good.
Of course you would, lad.
Of course I would, but no. It was really nice to see some good football. Once the flood opened with the first goal, picking up on the Take That reference.
Terrible.
Well, it was just nice to see. I think when I come on last time, I said about playing the 2 holding midfielders and then asking one of them to go forward, playing an 8, and it didn't work, obviously. We looked at that. We've now got 1 midfielder and 2 bursting forward, and it seems to have so much better balance. Yeah, it's just nice to see Tolu had his best game. So nice to see him get the team selection right and get the personnel right. Round pegs in round holes. It was just a pleasing performance, wasn't it?
It was. It's one of them. I can't believe I'm actually coming on a podcast and Wolves have won a game. I did genuinely think we might go to the end of the season without this happening, boys. So long may it continue, and hopefully we batter the Toffees on Wednesday. Should we get through the goals? Because I mean, do you know what? The worst bit about this is all four of us have spoke, and the Wonder Boy has not even been spoken about yet. So thankfully, at least he scored a goal for us to talk about. Let's get to the first goal, Liam. What do you think, mate? I think it was a superb bit of build-up play into the start of it. So take it away.
Yeah, the build-up was superb, wasn't it? And I saw some of the West Ham fans was absolutely berating their centre halves for how they defended the cross, but I just didn't see any of that. I just saw how brilliant we were to actually, put the ball into a decent area and have bodies going into the box rather than it just being one striker. And Hwang kind of just knocked it in towards Arias, and he's missed a few of them, hasn't he, where he's just side-footed it and he's always just fumbled it past. And to be fair, with his work rate, he did deserve a goal, didn't he? We needed that first goal to get it in and get us going and get the fans. The fans is willing to get behind him again, weren't they? I was just hoping we didn't go one down, and it was just perfect. And he did it, I think, about a few minutes before that goal, where he just turned and took on a man, and the crowd had that bit of a buzz, didn't they? And he just kept running and running. And I was like, that's a different bit of Hwang that we haven't seen probably for like the last 2 seasons. And he deserved to get a bit of an assist and applause because it was a great little move by him, weren't it? And West Ham just couldn't deal with Hwang, Mane and Arias just interchanging at all, could they? I don't think they knew who was going to pick up who. And yeah, it was just a nice little finish. He slotted in between the two centre halves and he just hit it with his, I think, the side of his right foot, maybe. It was just a perfect goal.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I think first you have to credit Mane, don't you? I think he picks up the ball from deep and brings players. He draws players to him with the way that he brings the ball forward. And he brought, I'm going to butcher his name, is it Magusa, the central midfielder from West Ham? He brought in so far out of play, just left all that space on the left-hand side. And then the interlinking play between Bueno and Mane, Hwang again. I've got to mention it. The unselfish runs that he was doing for the whole time he was on the pitch was just a joy to watch. It was a joy to watch. The unselfish runs are absolutely what we love. And we're so back, aren't we? We're so back.
Yeah, mate. I just want to say before you move on, that's when Hwang's at his best, though, because if you remember when he had his real sort of big instant run in the team in terms of his goals, when he was under Gary O'Neill, he was utilised in a way that he was allowed to go and run into space. That's Hwang's game in a nutshell. He's got pace, and he needs space to go and attack. And when he's able to do that, then he's a problem because he is very direct. He's not your typical winger that's going to go and drive at players, do a couple of step overs and beat them. He'll stand a man up, and then he's not really got that moment of magic to beat a player. But give him a sort of ball to latch onto and run on in behind. I think he's really effective. And I want to highlight as well the movement of Tolu in the box, because without Tolu's movement, he makes a run towards the back post. He then gets in between the two West Ham centre halves, and he then makes a forward movement which takes them out of the space. So when Arias arrives, he's got a load of space in front of him and a big gap to go towards goal. Because where Tolu started, there was three bodies, including himself, covering that area of the pitch where the balls and where the goalie scored. So where the goal, the football went into the net, there was 3 bodies in the way. So Arias' shot would have got blocked. But I don't want that unselfishness as well. That movement in the box just sort of typified the way that the team played, because that was happening all over the pitch.
Yeah, it was. It really was. And fair play to Arias before we move on as well, because I think for a player who has been heavily criticised by us and many others, and rightly so in some games, I think it was so nice to see him get his first goal, be able to celebrate it in front of the fans at the Molineux, but at the same time, the late run into the edge of the box, that's all we asked for. That is what we've been asking for, we've been crying out for from our midfielders for so long. And like I say, placed it perfectly. As you say, that he placed it perfectly. And Tolu's unselfish running absolutely gave everything for that goal. And couldn't be more pleased when that first goal went in. And I was hoping and praying it was going to be a good day after that. Morsey, move on to you, mate. Wolves went 2-0 up after some brilliant unselfish running again. by Mane and got us a penalty. What do you think, lad?
Yeah, it was nice to actually see us have a spot kick, wasn't it, for a change? First and
Very nice.
foremost. But yeah, penalty? It's one of them. If it wasn't given, I don't think it would have been overturned either way. I think watching it back, you can see it's still really not clear, is it, who gets the touch on the ball? Don't know
would
if
say
you
Mane
agree or
did.
disagree, but then they're both running a similar direction, aren't they? They're both running at that angle.
Has he got a West Ham shirt on, lad?
But no, yeah, great piece of play to get there, win the penalty, and then nice Hwang, just bit of patience, wasn't it? And then set the keeper diving and just slotted it down the middle.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah, he did.
Because that's a player who's a lot of confidence, isn't he? As we've touched on last couple of games, his best spell since we give him that new contract. It's nice to see him playing well, wasn't it?
Yeah, I have to agree. Again, the lead up to the penalty, he was just zipping the ball around, right? He was superb.
Yeah, it was nice to see as well. I'm saying, like, we've won 3-0 and I still think their keeper's man of the match. That just says a lot about us, doesn't it, for a change?
It is. It is nice to say. How did you feel when Hwang stepped up for the penalty, mate? Because he gave me kittens. I was praying for Chris to take
you look
it.
at the squad, I think he's the one to take it, isn't he? He's probably the only one who probably takes them with his national team in shootouts. Don't see anyone else on that pitch really stepping up to take it.
Got to be
I was
Chris.
so nervous when I saw him stepping up, man.
Funny you mentioned that,
no.
taking it for his national team. He missed his last one, didn't he?
Yeah.
And he got held as it was a terrible penalty. That was your first thing I said in the stand. I was like, I'm sure he missed his last one for South Korea.
Yeah, he did.
And it was awful.
But at the same time, what I will say, no disrespect to Larsa, I don't think it mattered who stepped up to take the next penalty. They couldn't have hit it worse than the last penalty that we had.
Yeah.
I think he did the right thing because 9 times out of 10 a keeper's going to dive. So yeah, played it safe. Fair play to him.
I like it. Liam, is there anyone else you'd have rather have took that penalty?
I didn't want Mane to do it because I don't think we needed his confidence to stay. I don't know I think you mentioned about Krejci taking it through his old team before, so you mentioned about him stepping up, but there's not really anyone in there that you'd think, oh mate, he's definitely got to have that penalty. I don't think, for me personally anyway.
I believe Arias was the penalty taker for Fluminense as well, so we have got a couple of options, but we'll see, because like Nat says, we're so back and we're going to get some more penalties going forward, and I'm looking forward to seeing who takes them. Wolves scored 3 goals, and the third was arguably the pick of the bunch, would it, mate? Take the floor.
Yeah, and before I break it down, how justified a moment for a young prospect that has came in and just wears the shirt with so much pride, put so much into his performances, and has been a shining light in such a dismal campaign so far. Watched him at United in the flesh, and I just thought, wow, he didn't stop running, but he has so much quality on the ball. Like, he's so refreshing to watch. Because he'll try something, he'll lose it, and then he'll go and track back 30, 40 yards. He just epitomises everything you'd want in a football player in terms of like where we are as a fan base. Every time you talk about it, you're like, the minimum we ask for is hard work. He gives you that. What do you want to see as a football fan? Excitement. He'll get on the ball. He'll go and drive it 2-3 players. He's exceptional, and I don't want to kind of highlight him too much because I'd like it if we could keep hold of him. And me giving him rave reviews is only going to kind of not help that. But listen, I think during the game, he started as he left off at United, so much confidence, running at players, finding the pockets, straight on the half turn, and just the way that he pitched the ball up and the positivity, yeah, exceptional. And he gets on the ball, takes it on the half turn, drives forward, and it weren't until sort of the last second before he's kicked the ball that he's even looked at where he's shooting. He must practice that day in, day out, because it just looks so natural, so comfortable for him. And he spoke about in his post match when he did his interview, and he said, "I like to shoot between the keeper's legs, not in between the defender's legs, because it doesn't give the goalkeeper a chance to react." And he just hit it so well, kept it down low and hard, and Arias had no chance. And it was just so nice, wasn't it? Because we were all just wanting to do so well, and it just capped off a really good free game performance for him in Liverpool, United, and then in West Ham. Yeah, one of our own, and just like I said, he's lapping everything up at the moment. He's the one everyone's singing about at the end of the game. He's the one that everyone's excited by, and he looks every bit the Cunha replacement that we wanted in the summer. Yet we didn't know really even existed. We obviously you've heard things of him in the academy sort of last season and whatnot, but to the extent that he's popped up and flourished, yeah, full credit to the lad.
Couldn't
He
agree
pops
anymore.
up in that like area as well, where he's an 18-year-old that has to tactically switch on to know when to tuck in into centre mid, like Arias. But he's only 18. He knows when to tuck in and then when to turn and when to play. That is some going, that is, for a young lad that's not played many first team Premier League football. Absolute buzzing for him, man. It's so fair play.
Yeah, I don't know if you noticed as well. Like he's the one talking to players on the pitch. Like he starts conversations on the pitch for an 18-year-old to have a set of bollocks on him like that. To not only go and be fearless with the football, but to then go and expect and converse with players that have amassed so many more games than him. It just shows sort of the direction that he's heading, which will obviously be another new contract at Wolves and staying at the club for the rest of his career, winning us a Premier League title and the Champions League because we are so bad.
Yeah, he's had no Premier experience either, has he, on loan or, so as you say, doing this straight in, fresh out the academy. He's going to learn. He's going to make mistakes, isn't he? He's had no senior experience. It's just got to make sure we don't get on his back when inevitably the dip does start to come, or he does get caught out of position for a goal in this role.
I think that helps him now as well, doesn't it? I think that rawness helps him because he looks like he knows he's not going to make a mistake at the moment. He's that confident that, you know, the extra touches he takes is so raw that it's working at the moment because everyone is too scared to play for Wolves, aren't they? And he's just set up and set the standard for all these experienced pros that have played at World Cups and in European competitions. And he looks like he's set them a new level to try and get to. And they're trying to get there and show that they can do it as well.
Yeah, I think it needs to be said as well. People forget. It was only, 6 months ago in the under-21s when he was playing out on the left wing. He's been dragged into a side to play as a false 9, then being dragged to play as a 10. Now he's playing as an 8. Like, that is enough for any youngster to be given that kind of, you're the utility man role, we're going to play you sparingly where we need you. In games, just try and do your best. He's not got that about him. He's so tactically brilliant that as soon as he picks up the ball, it doesn't matter where he is on the pitch, his first thought is to turn and drive and bring players into the game. And to be able to have that confidence and that stability at 18 years old, honestly, a breath of fresh air. Like, genuinely, I'm so glad that we managed to pluck him out. And credit to whoever at the club it was, whether that have been one of our former directors of football or whether it was one of our scouts when he was with Rotterdam. Brilliant. So, yes, boys, I think a final quick mention just before we move on to some more Matheus Mane news. Did any of you catch Nuno Santo's reaction at the end?
What, as in the no handshake? Or?
No handshake, storming down the tunnel. He was absolutely fuming. I think from a Nuno's point of view, he probably weren't so happy with the fans as well, was he? When we were all chanting about him being a wolf and a wanderer and everything else in between. But to be honest, I love Nuno Santo. I bloody loved it, man. Bloody loved it. Up the Rob Edwards, come on! Go on, let's carry on, man.
No, I was just going to say I didn't clock it during the celebrations at the end, but obviously I did see it afterwards and hear about it. I was too busy lapping it up, man, and just seeing the smile on Yerson Mosquera, the Colombian prince's face. Well, I cannot believe that I've gone 30 minutes of this podcast without mentioning that man. I love him. What a character. He's box office. Liam touched on it, the mistake at right, and then he's just rock solid. You go back to United when he's overlapping a wing back. He's just, and then doing the worst throw I've ever saw. Whether he's good, whether he's bad, he's box office. You would pay to watch him as a neutral.
Them long throws have come on as well, haven't they? Like, at first, he couldn't get the box, and now he's launching him in.
I wonder what he's been doing, mate, to improve his arm strength.
I'm sure we'll be doing a bit more of it this weekend, won't it?
Obviously, Jim, mate, it's got to be in it. What else could it be?
What could it be? Do you know why? It's because we're so back. So, boys, yes, it was. I'm lost for words, man. It was brilliant. I'm so happy, and I am thankful that we've got Everton this week who look to have got a few injuries. Hopefully,
Pressure's on them as well.
Yeah, hopefully we can go and take it to
David
them.
Moyes is having a few pelters online by their fans, isn't he? So massive
Yeah, I
pressure.
don't understand that. But we'll have a little match preview
You
in
see
a
the
bit anyway.
result? See the result yesterday?
Yeah,
Yeah.
massive. So I'll say let's move on. Let's bring it back to Matheus Mane. We had some news yesterday, reported by Steve Madley from The Athletic, that Matheus Mane has already been given a new contract by Wolves. It was signed, it came active when he turned 18 years old, on an increased wage, more in line with first team responsibilities. Yeah, like I said, that contract is valid until 2029, so the star boy is here to stay. Probably needs another one now, doesn't he? After the last few games. What's your thought on that, boys?
Yeah, obviously pleasing, first and foremost, because I think everyone was looking at it, expecting him to be out of contract sort of end of next season. However, what I will say is, and agree with you, he definitely deserves another contract. And one that sort of solidifies his short-term future at this football club, because inevitably, I hate to be the pessimist and take over from Alex Moore, he looks destined for much bigger things, and just the way that the club is run stands a very good chance that he will be flogged for profit. Yeah, I mean, what age was he when he joined? Because does he
Was it 15?
hit the PSR criteria where it's 100% profit because technically he's from the academy, or did we miss out a lot? I'd like to sort of find that bit out, because obviously if you've got homegrown talent that is from the academy, then when they move on, it counts as 100% profit.
I just going to quickly jump in. I believe, if I remember rightly, I remember seeing him sign a scholarship deal.
Yeah.
So I believe
then
it would be
I was looking
100%
at it
profit.
and thinking, if that is the case, then Fosun are going to be even more likely to want to sell him, because it's even better for the books.
Yeah, and so if he did sign a scholarship, and like obviously because of he's under, I think it's 21, would have to pay a fee set by a tribunal to Rochdale. But you're looking at tens to hundreds of thousands, not millions.
So it's going to be worth like 300 million by the end of the season. So I'm well happy to give a couple of hundred over to them, mate.
Yes. So if it's not 100%, it's close to.
I'm sure Already could represent Portugal or England as well, or something like that.
I believe he can.
Yeah,
It's
chosen.
3 countries, I think.
Is it Guinea or something like that?
Yeah, I'm unsure of the African country. Yeah, but there's 3. I just hope that we give him a contract that sort of reflects where he's at and helps us keep hold of him, because I think you're looking at it with the way he's going, you genuinely could see him potentially being wanted as soon as the end of this season. I think it's really unlikely that he'd go, obviously, in this window. You're looking at it and you're thinking, Wolves are probably going to go down. Let's allow him to have the experience where he's going to play week in, week out, if you are going to poach him. If he did stay, I know I'm saying we're so back, but we'll be so back in the Championship more than likely next season. You're looking at it and you're thinking, if you can hold on to him in that season, with a sort of gentleman's agreement that if we weren't to go up, he then moves on, you'd understand that from a Wolves perspective.
Yeah.
And to kind of give Mane a fair deal. But yeah, I mean, it's a type of player, with him being technically from the academy, that you want to see stay at the club for a long time. And I think with the talk of Nathan, that actions speak louder than words, what a better way to set the tone and start it off by saying, you know what, he's one of us. We're going to do all we can to keep him, rather than the club being in the position that they have been, where it's like, oh, somebody wants our player for big money. Happy days, we'll sell. Now let's try and keep hold of the lad, because he's being shown love that top players that have played for us before received. There's a lot of players that have done well for this football club over the Fosun years, especially, that haven't received the same type of love that he's getting now. And I know it's a fickle game for ball, and things can change. For him to come in and be the one that everyone's chanting for 60% of the game, 70% of the game, the first song that when the players come over, that's the one that they're chanting. Yeah, it tells you sort of how highly he is thought of. So I think if we can keep him while giving him a fair deal, go and do it.
I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm slagging off the club when I say this, but what a massive own goal by the club for not putting it out there not even giving like a Twitter post that he'd signed a new deal when he turned 18 years old. Maybe they did it because of the pressure. They didn't want to invite any more pressure. I don't actually know when his birthday was. I'll get it up for us. But I cannot believe that they didn't announce it anywhere because, I mean, like I say, he's one of our best players. So you would hope that they would have put it out there and it would, like the PR would have been going crazy because he's by far and large at the moment our best player.
Does he go for more than Tyler Diblin if he continues the way he's playing?
That's a question we've got to ask, man. 16th of September was his birthday. So would have been too early to be kind of getting the same sort of bloodies. I think you've raised a question, Liam. I think before we move on to anything else, what would if he carries on at the same rate as what he's going, what do you think his transfer value will be come the end of the season?
I think Diblin is a great shout, isn't it? Because I think he was massively overpriced. And that's now who you're comparing him, isn't it? So Diblin went for 35 plus 5. So then surely your minimum, and you was Willie Notto at Leeds, when they was looking at the same, wasn't there? So looking at the previous benchmark, you are got to be looking at least 30 to 40 million.
And he should be worth double them because he's better than both of them, hands down, easily. Nat, what do you think his market value would be?
What I think his value is, or what I think we'd sell him for.
What I think his value should be come the end of the season.
Historically, we're really poor sellers.
Yeah, we are.
You look at it and you're thinking probably could have got more for Cunha. Definitely should have got more for Aït-Nouri. And like we have sold very poorly in the past. The only sort of bit of business that you look at and you think, how have we managed to do that is Kilman.
I think there's three. Try not to give the club too much credit. I think the Gibbs White deal I thought was structured really well. I thought that one back in the day was probably a decent sale. And obviously the last one that I can remember would have been Fabio Silva to get the recoup as much money as what we did for Fabio. But Kilman especially as well. Yeah, I absolutely agree.
And
but apart from
Jota.
that, we've been crap.
So
Jota's was terrible. Hated the Jota deal. 40 million in £5 million instalments over years. Nah, mate, the club for that.
Yeah, we've had some stinkers. I think depending on how much football he plays, because that will have a massive impact. You've got to think Diblin at Southampton had played a full Premier League season, and he played parts of the Championship season the season before. So he went, and I remember Southampton quoting silly money for a long time before the deal got done. Now, like 75 million or something. It was the price at the start, or maybe even more. Maybe was it not like 100 million or something?
Yeah, no, they don't.
Yeah,
Stupid.
I guess. Listen, I know you're gonna benchmark it a ridiculous amount and negotiate down, but I think should we be in the Championship, you're looking at it and you should be expecting around sort of 30, 35 million just for where the market's at. I think if we somehow manage to stay up, you'd like to think he would then stay if we were a Premier League club, because it is still really early on in his career. And I understand that players look at it and you think this chance might not come around again. How many young players go to clubs and have their careers ruined because they've gone too early? I think if we were a Premier League club, then you're have to be looking minimum 45 with additional to then come in. And by that, I mean, obviously, extra instalments or incentivised bonuses, appearances, England cap, etc., plus a sell-on if he was to go again. But it does all come down to how much football he's played and his performances. It's all well and good trying to discuss it now after he's played 3 or 4 games, but you need a bigger sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? I've gone blank as to what I was going to say. Sample size, that's it, yeah. You need a bigger sample size to see how he's doing and where he's at further down the line.
Let's hope it continues, boys, because I could sit here and talk about Mane for weeks on end. And I think we probably all could, to be fair. Does anyone want to quickly touch upon Rob Edwards out of all of this? Because I think you touched on it ever so slightly earlier in that. But for what it's worth and for the amount of criticism he's come under and scrutiny he's come under in recent weeks, I think we have to get to a point now where we're looking at games, and even though we lost to Liverpool and we lost to Arsenal, we have to kind of take Brentford one out of the occasion. I think we were just tragically poor that day. But the performances have been getting better. It's changing people's roles within the team. We've mentioned Arias again. today who looks a completely different footballer playing in central midfield. Something's going on behind the scenes, quite clearly, and I'm really pleased to see Rob Edwards get a win under his belt and hopefully some more points in the future. Anyone want to touch on Rob Edwards?
I was shocked to see that there was names being looked at again to replace him, like last week. That still shocks me. I think he deserves to have a bit more time. And, how much of a hard job as he came into, and he didn't need to come in. He could have waited till the end of the season. He came in. And I think he deserved that win, didn't he? He didn't deserve to lose like the next 3 or 4 games and then go out on a whimper. I think he deserves to have a bit of a chance. And if you get something out of Everton, it's on.
Are you saying we're back, Lim? We're back.
Yeah, listen, I'll chime in a little bit. I think what killed Rob early on was the Villa performance being so good, but yet coming away with nothing. And then we just struggled to really get back to those heights, and we had a really decent set of games. But he's spoken about it himself. The impact that he had with the group compared to his points return was disappointing, because you could see at spells in games where they've played well. I think the thing that he's had to do, and probably the biggest part of it for him, is the man management side, as well as waiting a little bit of more time to get his coaching staff in. Because not only has he had to pick them up when he first came in to go and get the players behind him and confidence and stuff, but then he's had to do it again because results haven't picked up, which is even more impressive. For you look at managers and you think normally they come in and they have the new manager bounce, and you then get a few results and confidence is high. He never had that because we didn't win for the first 7 or 8 games. So I think he strikes me as someone that's a real good man manager, but also I think getting the staff in that he's got in, and then obviously they must have discussed it. They must have seen things in training that they've liked to say, "Oh, Arias is going to go and play central midfield," or "We like Mane in here," and it's nice for them to kind of pick up on the same things that we're all thinking. But like we wouldn't afford to put Mane and Arias in central midfield. You just wouldn't, because not. You look at them in the positions that they play, and you see it on paper. We're not sort of privy to training every day. We don't see them. We just get the small sample size of a 95, 100-minute game every week or every other week, depending on whether you go home or away. So you have to give them credit because they've found solutions and they've found a way to go and play. And I think you look at Tolu, for example. I feel like they've managed him really, really well, because he must have been nowhere near fit when he came in. And then he's played, and he's been playing unfit. Saturday was the first game you look at and you think he's bang up to this now. He was everywhere. He looked like he could have done the full 90 for the first time all season. He looked really sort of confident, strong. I don't know if you guys remember it, first half. He pinned a defender, received it to feet, picked it through the defender's leg, in behind into the space, and then ran onto the end of it and got on it and kept the ball up. So they've managed certain profiles really, really well. And it's slowly starting to hopefully glue and gel together, and you can put together some form of consistency. Does that mean that we're going to go and win 5 on the spin? I'd love it to. It might not happen, because as well as we played, we do have to understand that West Ham were poor, and that we'll go to Everton and you look at it, and we'll touch on it obviously shortly. They didn't have the best results, but that means they're going to be banged up for it on Wednesday. And ultimately, it's embarrassing. You drop points to Wolves. At this moment in time, it's embarrassing to drop points to us because of where we are in the league and the points tally. So we just kind of have to stay humble, stay grounded, but keep believing in the work that he's doing, because not just him, it will be a real collective. The managers get all the praise, all the credit, because they're the ones that head it all up now. But I'd be very surprised if Rob's doing the majority of the coaching. I really would. I think he's brought in people that he trusts. I think Harry Watley is someone that he really rates on the training pitch. And you look at Ruby, he's been highly thought of everywhere he's gone with Nuno. Every single club has benefited from him being there, and it's sort of, you can see that he's definitely had an impact, in my opinion. So I think you've got a collective of sort of Rob's man management, and then Harry and Ruby coming in and sort of being the brains behind the tactical side of things.
Yeah. It's going to be hard for Nuno to be looking at Rui in the opposition dugout on the weekend and Rui pipping him to the post, really. I saw the video that Mosquera, I think it was, put online, and then Wolves lied to put it out. And he looks so happy, doesn't he, to be back for Rui Pedro. So it's nice. It's nice to see someone who just took to the club for what it was back in the day, and he wanted a second stick at it. And yeah, I think there is. I'm not trying to throw Rob Edwards out by any means, but I think there is somewhere down the line where obviously managers do change quite frequently. I could see him giving him a go at the Wolves job in some capacity in the future. Horse, do you have anything nice to say about Rob Edwards?
It's nice to see. Unfortunately, I do think it's a little too late in terms of this season, but it's nice to see that there's a structure. We're starting to see. It is good to see you starting to see his ideas and his methods come across. Like, I do, again, not his fault. I do think the damage was already done before his tenure. Unfortunately, but if we do keep this up, I do think he does, at this moment in time, it looks like he's the man to bring us back.
Good. I hope so. I really hope so.
I don't want him to be, because I want him to keep us there, but I just think the damage is done, unfortunately.
Look, I think is it 47 points still to play for? Mate, the title charges on, let alone relegation, mate. We're back.
That's fine.
So,
We'll win the cup and we'll play in Europe in the Championship.
No, just be a bit more realistic, Moors. We've got 47 points to play for. We're going to get at least 46.
At least. Because, Haaland will probably nick a late equaliser in a couple of weeks' time, but that's about the only time that we're actually going to lose this year. In all seriousness, I'm not saying we're going to stay up. I'm not going to get ahead of myself. But looking into the fixture coming up, if we can take it to Everton and go and get a result, I was about to say Goodison, I don't even, is it Stanley? I don't know what the ground's called now. Bramley-Ball, Summit Train Station Stadium. If he can go and get 3 points there, Nuno goes back to his other former club in the week and play Forest. Do we want West Ham to go and pick up points against Forest? Because I think they're going to be I think they're going to be down there. I think as long as Forest can't extend that gap on us, I'd take a point. Obviously, I think that the whole thing that we all want is probably a point from the game for them. But is there a world in there we want Nuno to go and take some revenge for what Wolves have done to him this weekend and take it to Forest?
Yeah, I think so. Because they're the ones that are outside. Forest are the ones that are outside the relegation zone at the moment. So technically, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter about Burnley and West Ham. You're not looking at those specifically and saying like we want to catch them. We want to catch the ones that are outside the relegation zone. Ultimately, in the long term, so you need, as a collective, that all those teams to be losing points. West Ham beating Forest doesn't change the picture too much because West Ham is still going to be in the bottom three. It just stops Forest from running away. And there's a few teams above Forest that have got obviously better points tallies. And you look at it and you think, if they carry on the way that they're going, they're probably not going to be in danger. Forest look really poor, and they look the ones that will also be in the dogfight for the sort of the long haul. So it's something that I discussed during the game, towards the end of the game on Saturday, and I said, ideally you want to draw, but if not, you want West Ham to win for sure, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But you just have to hope that they don't sort of get too much confidence from the win.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think even if we were to beat Everton and Forest win, it's just a bit of a kick in the teeth. And that's the situation that we are in. You're just relying on a lot of other things going your way also. But we're back, so who knows?
Boys, the reason that we're all here today is because we want to do a little transfer special for everyone. We've gone out and picked a couple of names, 2 or 3 names between us. Realistic players to come and feature alongside Sir Matheus Mane this season and really join the fight to keep Wolves and get him into Europe. Aston Villa are coming for you. Shall we start with you, Morse? Do you want to tee us in with some players you think we should go with?
Really been looking forward to this moment, hasn't he? First one, keep it light. I think James Trafford on loan. I think he's an upgrade on the 2 keepers we've got, better with the ball at his feet. Obviously, that record he had at Burnley last year was magnificent, to say the least. And he's someone who should be looking to go to the World Cup, shouldn't he? So come with us, bring us up, pay for him for 6 months, maybe. Put a clause in, if we do stay up, we get to sign him permanently. Let's be honest, one or both of them keepers are going to be off either January or the summer, aren't they? That's position should be looking to improve now.
Yeah, I think he got, was it 19 clean sheets in a row?
Burnley, yeah.
with Burnley last year.
Yeah.
That's an incredible record. I think Liam is going to be killing you if that's one of the names that was on his list, because he's been beating the James Trafford drum for a while. Impressed, Nat? Number one?
Good start, mate. My only sort of argument towards that is, would another change of goalkeeper disrupt this sort of continuity and consistency that we've had over recent games? That would be my only sort of bugbear, and is it the area that we so desperately need? But it's a good start, Moores. I will give you credit. I didn't
Jump in,
expect it
Liam.
from you, mate. So
Nah.
I expected a 37-year-old pensioner, mate, with 17
Scott
seasons.
Carson, Tom Eaton's coming in next. Liam, off you go, mate.
I was looking at these ones where, like, before the Man United game, to be fair, so I didn't think we'd even get any point, to be honest with you. And I was looking at the centre halves, because we just looked like we had a 10-minute spell every game where we was just so open. Looking at, I don't know if we'd sign any more wonder kids to come in, because I don't know if that's what we need at the moment. You got teams like Crystal Palace, you know, and Everton have got new stadium. Palace are in Europe, Forest are in Europe, and these things that you're backing with. I don't know if you will be able to attract the type of players that we all want to see if we are heading to the Championship. So I've said it before on the podcast that I'd want someone in that's a bit of an experience. So my first on would be Japhet Tanganga for Sheffield United. He's 26. He's played a lot of games in the Championship. He was at Millwall after he played in the Premier League with Tottenham. He's captain now at Sheffield United. I think he's that type of leader that we need to go down to the Championship, that's been there in a Millwall team where their fans get on the back every game if they're losing or conceding. Same as Sheffield United, they had big pressure on them to kind of sort themselves out, and they haven't. So he's had to carry all that, hasn't he? In between November and December, when I had a look at it, there was like 5 out of 7 games where they had 4 clean sheets, and he was like a star man out of every game. I think they bought him for like 7 million. And he can cover centre half and right back. And I know he's mentioned us before about our atmosphere at the Molineux. So I was like, you know what, he's going to want it. And players like that aren't going to be chasing the playoffs, I think they would come in and want to come into the Premier League for half a season if they know that they're going to be trying to push for promotion. I don't know if I'd have said that name now, looking at how we've defended well over the last 2 games. But before then, I wanted just someone to come in who's just an absolute defender, that Craig Dawson-esque, that does win headers and clear the ball and don't mess about with it, just to try and tidy things over. And if he is a captain, that's the type of leader that I think when you're going down to the Championship, if you keep players like Mane that are so young and raw, you need that experience in there just to help them, you know. Guide, like against Liverpool when we conceded in the Championship, if you concede, you need someone in there who's been there and done it, that's going to just get that back line back in again, so we ain't conceding again.
I like it. I can't lie. Japhet Tanganga, I think we should have activated the clause. Didn't he have a clause for like 1.2 million pounds in the summer if a Premier League club came in for him?
Player of the season as well, I think, for Millwall.
Yeah, it was potentially one of them where you could have, for 1.2 million pounds, you're losing nothing if you go and bring it in, yeah. Boys, what do you think about Japhet Tanganga?
Yeah, I think other than the fact that we're pretty stacked there.
I was looking at it with Agbadou. If Agbadou was to be going,
yeah,
and, you know, Doherty right back, we needed another centre half. But the way they've played the last 2 games, we probably don't need him. But
I think, like you say, it was a really logical one in the summer because we were crying out for homegrown players in the summer as well. So it kind of would have ticked all the boxes. I think back in the summer, it would have been a little bit more uninspiring because we all had this sort of expectation of we want better quality players because the players that were leaving were quality. I think with the situation that we're in at the moment and potentially going into next year, it would make a lot of sense. I just don't think they would sell, having only signed him in the summer. That would be my only sort of arguing point really with him. But he's young enough. He sort of fits the profile, and yeah, really really good experiences. We forget that he actually had quite a good run in the Spurs side as well. We're touching on Millwall player of the season and stuff, but I'd love to know the actual number of games he played for Spurs because it must have been a fairly decent amount. So he's got
27.
So do you know what I mean? So he's got that experience in the Premier League as well, and will only have grown and solidified with his experiences in the Championship.
Agreed. Morse?
Yeah, not much to add really. I think it's a good sign. The only thing I'd be a bit wary of is is there a reason no Prem clubs took up the option for 1 point something million? Is there something that would be to? Because on
I think
paper, it's a great deal, isn't it? But obviously, there's a reason that there's 20 clubs haven't touched him.
It's one you'd have made on Football Manager, isn't it, Morse?
Yeah.
Nat, do you want to jump with your first one?
So I've also gone in for a defender, but I've gone in for a right wing back. Simply for the fact I think that is probably the weakest area on the pitch for us at the moment, other than central midfield before Arias and Mane started to take over and dominate. And I also went to Sheffield United, and my shout is Sariki on the right wing back area. I think that he's somebody that is the opposite to what we've got. Very good going forward. Would probably come in and be arguably across both areas of left wing back and right wing back, one of the better players in those areas to go and attack, run at players, create chances. His attacking stats for Sheffield United are really good. Obviously, with that, you sort of lose a little bit defensively, but when you've got the Colombian Prince Yerson Mosquera next to him, what's the worry about?
Don't need a right back.
But I think we're crying out for that sort of flexibility and that extra dynamism to be able to attack down both sides. I think we're still a little bit limited with when we've got Hoover or Chichua. Although Chichua, I will say, it did look better going forward at the weekend. But although I'm getting carried away saying we're back, I'm not convinced that he is back. Or I don't think he was ever there in the first place. But so yeah, I look at it and I think that would be an area profile. I think he's 23 off the top of my head, I think. Fairly young, but good experiences with Sheffield United. And I feel like he'd be sort of the same mould as like a Mane, where he comes in and he's still a little bit raw, he's still fresh, wants to make a big impact. First opportunity in the Premier League. And I think he'd be a really good fit for what we're after. Nationality, homegrown status, age profile, athletically really good. The only thing that I would say as a sort of opposed to my idea is Pedro Lima is obviously now back. And do you look at it and think, we don't recruit, we try and give him a run of games because he could be arguably the starting right wing back in the team next season, should he perform well over a period of games? Because let's be honest, he probably comes in and he's probably better than what we've got anyway. So that would be my only argument against myself.
Yeah. I like the fact you brought up Pedro Lima's back. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with him because he never actually played a senior game for Porto, did he? So we'll see if and when he gets opportunities under Rob or how he trains and see where the future lies with that one. Liv, what do you think to Sheffield United's right back?
Yeah, I was just going to say about Lima, but, I think that right back position is so weak and we're trying to attack and you go and, Wolf on that left-hand side, they kind of can do something, can't they? But that right-hand side at times does look really weak. So, yeah, I think it is an area that needs to be sorted ASAP or definitely next season.
Yeah. Was?
Yeah, not much to add. I've not really heard of this bloke, so I can't add about him, but it is the wrong problem area, isn't it, that we are really bad.
Yeah.
I'm going into the season with Chichua and Hoover is just incompetent.
It's been harsh for Tachira. Not what you're saying, but I mean, it's a hard one because obviously he was new to the league and we didn't know a fat lot about him ourselves, to be honest, apart from what we've seen online, and it hasn't really worked, has it?
But there's a reason he was 5th or 6th choice at that position.
Yeah, I agree. Well, looks like me and Nat have gone down the same route anyway, boys, because my first one, and I apologise because I'm going to butcher the name. Ryan Albiosu is what we're going to go with. He is another right wing back / right back. Currently at AFCON. So even in the Championship, he's getting enough recognition. I think it's his first few appearances for Nigeria. He's a 24-year-old former Arsenal academy player and has played 20 times for Blackburn so far this season. He's got 1 goal and 2 assists to his name, but that's obviously in a poor Blackburn side. He won't have the attacking output numbers that you might have expected. He averages 3.74 progressive carries per game and 2.2 shot creating actions per game. So for me, somebody who's just going to get down that right wing and he's going to create chances for us, and he's something that with the way that Mosquera was trying to handle Chatua and then when to run and how to make the runs and where to be looking to play passes into all game on Saturday. I think we could do no wrong by getting somebody else who is fast and athletic and gifted at going forward. It's another one where he averages 2.38 tackles per 90 and 1.2 blocks, so he's got that defensive stability about him as well. He's had stints in different countries, one of them is Scotland, so he hasn't got, for me, enough quality minutes in top leagues, but I think it's one of those where I've kind of looked into the championship market for where we probably will end up next year. But yeah, like I said, first season at Blackburn at the minute, I think they brought him in for just shy of £1 million, and he's already got teams like Everton and Wolfsburg after him. So he's not doing the worst. And like I say, in a struggling Blackburn team, 20th in the league, he's fast, he's athletic, he overlaps well, he's good at tracking back. There's my shout to you, boys.
No, mate, I just feel like it's the area that we need to improve, and I think not only that, it's probably a low cost addition because Blackburn are a selling club. They're a shambles of a club, if we're honest, with the ownership. So I think they sold their right back to Middlesbrough this season now.
Yes, he was really good. He was another one I was looking at. But
Britton, Callum
yeah.
Britton, something like that, yeah. So you know that you can get a deal done with them. And contrary to reports of nobody's heard of him, he has just taken my Blackburn team to the Premier League on Football Manager with a record high number of assists in the Championship. So yeah, I do know him, Dan, very, very well. He's a real asset to my club, and I'm sure he could be a real asset to ours should he come in.
Do I know ball?
You must do, mate, because you think we're back, and we still are.
We're so back. Liam,
Yeah,
tell me
again.
you don't know, but it's all right, mate. I don't care.
In them areas, who would you get rid of though? Hoover or Tachua? Which one would looks likely to get out the door? If we
Both.
At the end of the season, no, his contract.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
he's gone, and I just think they'll cut ties with Jackson. I think he'll go. I think we'll lose both, if I'm honest.
we just need to be balanced on the sides, don't we? And in the championships where those crosses come in, it's where a lot of goals can come from. And defensively, you need someone who's going to be able to, push their winger thinking defensively rather than them just being free to just keep coming to attack us. Especially when we're playing at home, we need to put this to scare opposition teams, don't we? So yeah,
I did like the fact that he can play right back as well as right wing back for me, because of his being defensively capable. It was I was thinking in mind of if we do go down and we decide to play 4 at the back, he's not going to be completely lost because he can only play as a right wing back. We kind of had that sort of issue with Aït-Nouri at times where he was so suited to that left wing back role that when we did ask him to tuck into us just as a left back, he kind of strayed defensive abilities, didn't he? In that case, we're going to move on to your second pick, aren't we?
I was going to change this. I was going to throw in centre mid. I was going to throw Harrison Reed in there, but I have changed. I've dropped down to the Championship with you boys, and I've gone for Jason Knight, also of Bristol City. So obviously he's got 18 months left on his deal, so I think it's a transfer we could do. He's 24, and he's already got 250 appearances, of which over 200 are in the Championship. 24 is in the top 92nd percentile for progressive passes with a high pass completion. So he's obviously been a different option in that 8 role. Not necessarily going to gate crash for box, but then a bit of creation from a bit deeper, which I think that is one thing in the squad we are severely lacking. It's in penetration from deep.
I like it. To be fair, I've always had a bit of a thing for Jason. Might not sound as he was.
I did wonder why there's posters of him in your room.
No, I always remember playing as Derby on Football Manager back in the day when they got the point deduction just when Wazza was going in, and he was one of the top prospects coming through at Derby then, and I have sort of followed his career and what he's been doing at Bristol City, and they're a weird team, aren't they, Bristol City, because they do so well, but they never seem to be progressing up the table or getting anywhere near
One of them
playoffs.
teams, like that, just ruin your Aki every single week. You back them, they lose. You back against them, they win.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
bet responsibly, guys.
Bet responsibly.
They'd be, but Yeah, but then I think that hole in the squad that we don't have the progressive passer from deeper areas to unlock defences, especially if next year we do go down, we're going to be playing against a lot more low blocks and teams are just going to sit in and frustrate.
What do you think that to it? Go on.
Not for me.
So it's to Harrison Reed.
It would have been a better shout. Yeah, it would have been a better shout. I just think kind of when we're looking at it, we don't want to get drawn into. We're probably going to be playing in the Championship, so we'll just simply go for those type of players. I think we're a football club that can still attract really, really decent players. But to Jason, I'm not saying he's terrible by any stretch, but I think even when we were in the Championship last time, the caliber of player that we were bringing in was a real good caliber. I think it. On the flip side, it also depends on who we would get rid of in that area. Because I think you're looking at it, you probably lose Joe, you probably lose Andre, but there's still some decent options in there at this moment in time. And I think Bellegarde would be a player that would 100% be really effective in that league. So you're looking at it and you're thinking he could probably and will probably be one that would stay. So there's your comparison of the level of player that you'd have to bring in. Is where it differs from, because I know I've kind of contradicted myself by us two going for Championship fullbacks or whatever, wing backs. But you've got to look at what you've currently got in and compare it against. It wouldn't be the worst sign in the world. Harrison Reed, very tidy operator. I would take him. He's the type of player that when he's in the Championship, he's at the top end of central midfielders, and then he comes into the Prem and it's just slightly too much of a step up, or he just goes under the radar because he just does the brilliant basics, but nothing sort of out of the ordinary. Apart from his goal at the weekend, I did see that.
Cracking finish that one was.
Yeah.
I don't know about with Tommy Doyle coming in there. Is that a similar like type of player that we're going to be looking for? But again, Andre and João Gomez are going to be going out, don't they? So you would need centre mids coming in. But again, I just don't get the Tommy Doyle deal. That's just so strange, and he could fit that void, couldn't he? That we all can see that we're missing. I know he was, question marks over his physicality, but when we need to have someone on the ball that can play, he's someone that has got that in abundance, hasn't he? And in the Championship, I think he'll breeze it in that Wolves side.
As long as Blues don't get promoted.
They won't.
They shouldn't do, to be fair. Liam, do you want to go on to your second player, Barlow?
So I'd go for another Bristol City player, Mehmeti. I think that, again, when you go in the Championship, especially attacking players, if you can have a player in there that's, everyone talks about a cold Tuesday night in the Championship, yeah? So I think you need that type of attacker that's going to go in there. And I think he'd come in that January. He'd come in there and he would bring something to the team. You look at him and he can play across different positions and he can interlink, which at the moment in time, I looked at this before the Man United game, but watching our games against Man United and West Ham, I think it'd suit the system quite well. We've just been interlinking between different positions. He can flare across them. I think when I looked at it, you looked at the value before was about 10 million, which I think we could pay for, but I think they would push for a little bit more than that with a Prem team coming at him. When I looked at it in December, he had 6 assists and 6 goals, and in the top 3 for chances created for a team that, like you say, are hit and miss, are trying to get into the playoffs but are not quite there. And, he's been in the Championship for a few seasons now, so he obviously knows that league, and I think he can come to it full of confidence with a bit of flair. And I think he's the type of player that would work well alongside players like Mane, etc.
I'm going to quickly chime in with you as well, because for viewers who don't know, we obviously had to just disclose to make sure that we didn't have the same players, and me and Liam did. He's currently now got 8 goals and 6 assists, so he has scored more. Couple of stats: he averages 5.22 touches in the opposition box per 90, which is something that we're crying out for. He has 3.87 shot creating chances per 90 as well. So if you're getting 3 shot creating chances per game, obviously the level between the Championship and the Premier League is different, but even if he gets 1 or 1.5, you're laughing. He's out of contract in the summer as well, which is another big thing, because obviously he can probably demand a bit more of a wage increase if he was to run his contract down. But I don't think they could demand 10 million for a player who's running out of contract, especially for the size of the club of Bristol City. I think you could probably go in and nick him on the cheaper side of that. And if it's that void for us, he plays as a 10, he plays on the left-hand side. I think he'd be a steal. I think he'd be the one that I would go for. Nat, Alex, what do you think, mate?
Morse.
Go on, Morse.
Well, I agree. Not too much to add. It is an area that we do need to add to the attacking. I think it'd be a great fit.
Nice. Nat?
I'd hold off. I think knowing that he's out of contract, you could probably come up with a gentleman's agreement ahead of next season if you want him. It's one of those where for me it's a little bit of a risk because unproven in the league. Could you come and make the jump? Yeah, because players do it all the time. But do I look at him and think at this moment in time he would have enough of an impact to change games at this level? I'm unsure. So could I see it next season? Yeah. Could I see it January and think he's going to have a big impact in the Premier League? Maybe not, but I could be wrong.
Said, right, Nat, do you want to go in with your second shirt, mate?
Yeah, so my last two picks are players that can play across the front three. One is in the Championship, but I'll go with the one that is currently playing in Italy. Now, listen, I know our last signing from Italy hasn't gone well in Jackson Chichua. Rest assured.
Oh, Patrick Catrona. Don't forget the Prince.
Yeah, but we'll cut him some stuff. We wanted him all to do so well.
Yeah.
So this player has got experience in the Championship. He's homegrown, English, can play right, left, and has played through the middle for England under-21s as recently as in the summer at the Euros, and that is Jonathan Rowe. So, if you remember, I did speak about on one of the last podcasts that I was on how we could be creative in the window that players might not want to come on a permanent basis, and we could look towards the loan system as well. I look at him and I think he had a really good time in Norwich in the Championship, which obviously led to interest from the Premier League clubs and also European clubs. He then went to Marseille, didn't really hit the heights and was a sort of bit part player, underperforming player. He then went to Bologna in the summer, again, hasn't lived up to the expectation. And knowing how clubs work in Italy, pretty certain that they probably wouldn't be against a loan with an obligation or an option. And I just think he would be the type of player that would probably relish the opportunity to come back to England, where his family is, where he's performed well. If it was a loan deal, excellent for him because it would then put him in the shop window to potentially stay in the Premier League with us, should we do it, or attract the interest of other clubs. Or if he's happy to come to, because let's not beat around. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm not going to be pessimistic. We're a big football club, whether we're in the Premier League or we're in the Championship. We're a big football club. You look at it and you think, again, similar to the Mane situation. You give it a year in the Championship, go and hit those numbers again, and then either fire us back up into the Premier League or continue to play Premier League football with us. But I just think he'd be almost a bit of a marquee signing for me anyway, because like I said, he's got the experience. He was a real sort of trailblazer in that Norwich team. A lot of clubs wanted him. And yeah, just fits the criteria of a player with that sort of attitude and that desire to do well again.
I love that shirt. Do you know what? I actually had him on my list and I was and ahhing whether to do it just because he joined Bologna this season and he's just, because they're in Europe, he got like sparing minutes in European competition. I was like, would they keep him just for that European space? But I absolutely agree. I think that is a really solid shout, especially someone who could come on off that left. And I think he had a really good, a really decent 21 Euros competition back in the summer. I like that shout, Liam. I know you're a big fan of the England under-21s, mate.
Yeah, he is a really good player. There's two ways I could look at it with that. He had a bit of a bust up, didn't he, with that Adrien Rabiot when he was at Marseille. So it's two ways, isn't it? Is he going to be a bit of a, can he handle playing at the Molineux if it does get toxic towards the end of the season? Is he going to keep his head? Or we need that fire in the team, don't we? If he is that type of player, that's what we probably need in that squad, to have a bit of bravery and a bit of, a bit of fight. So it can go one or two ways, but again, someone of his quality to come into that team, I think, I'd take that all day long.
Agreed. Morsey?
Yeah, I agree. I think he's a top draw player. The thing with the fight would worry me, obviously, he'd still be in Marseille, wouldn't he, if he didn't decide to have a scrap. Again, is like, as Liam said, is that the type of player we want? Then he says you can look at it in two ways. I think the thing is, well, if he's moved to Marseille and Bologna, are we going to want to pay probably what he's on to take him on loan as well from a financial point of view?
Yes, I think so. Because why not? Because we've literally got nothing to lose. We've moved big earners like Fabio off the books in the summer.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine the players that we've brought in would have been on crazy amounts of money, like Tachua. He'd have probably been on nothing when he was over in Italy.
More to the point, like Italian clubs don't really pay massive wages, so I can't imagine that he's on any more than what our players would be on now. Like I saw some sort of wages that came out, and you're looking at sort of the average for us, what, about 60 grand, 50, 60 grand?
Yeah.
I highly doubt Bologna are paying him a wage that is in excess of that, of 60k.
Yeah.
I'd be shocked because the TV money and the league revenue that the clubs get in that league is next to nothing. And they don't go that far in the Champions League to have earned.
Yeah.
It's their first season in the Champions League this season now.
Yeah. You also have to look at as well the wages that we moved on in the summer with Cunha, Nori, Semedo, Sarabia. We're probably going to let Sean Larson go, who's reportedly on 110 grand a week, and we're going to get money out of him as well. And you probably look at losing one of Andre or Gomez, I would have thought. So if your earners are going, I think there's probably money there to spend. I'll go with my second pick, and I already know Nat's going to like this one because we've spoken about this player before. Obviously, I did have my mate, so I've had to kind of get one earlier on in the poddy, but I'm going with Imran Loser. It was a toss-up between Loser, Jack Vidazzi. I really didn't know which one to go for, and I thought just at the last moment, Imran Loser's took it for me. What a player. Watford probably aren't going to go up, if I'm being honest. I really like this guy. I really like him. His stats just speak for himself, to be fair. 22 games played, 6 goals, 6 assists. He's outscoring his XG. He looks unbelievable. 4.2 shot creating chances per game. 6.78 progressive passes per game. Unbelievable amount for a team in kind of mid-table championship, really. Even his progressive carries, 1.75 progressive carries per game. This man is the one that's kind of tinkering. Him and Hayden Hackney are the ones where they're kind of Premier League ready, but they haven't got the move yet. I could see him going, with no disrespect to Wolves, and like Nat said, we're a massive, massive club. I could see him being one of those ones that are kind of move to a more middle-of-the-pack Premier League outfit for this season, just so he knows he's definitely going to get at least a year and a half in the Premier League. But Imran Loser would be the one that would, for me, completely change the way that we play. I really do like him.
Yeah, I'm sure a wise man came on the pod in the summer and recommended him in the summer window. Not sure who it was, I can't remember, but yeah.
It sounds like me, that one.
It can.
He can. Liam, Imran Loser.
I haven't seen much of Watford, to be fair, so I can't be saying, yeah, I'll take him or not. But are they closer to the playoffs? I'm sure they're
Closer,
up there,
but-
aren't they?
They're
So-
up there, but at the same time, I
Would
can't see
he-
them going up.
Do you take the risk of coming to Wolves that look like they're going down, where you could be pushing for that move to go up? But if you did want to come, then yeah, I'd back what you're saying, and I'd take anybody, to be honest with you.
I think you also have to look at Watford. Sorry, Nat. You also have to look at Watford as one of those clubs where they're tarnished with this reputation of sacking managers left, right, and centre. Even if they were to go up, I think he'd want to move on because there is no stability at that club. For me, he'd be one that would probably look at moving him in January regardless, just so he wasn't in that position anyway.
Can I just throw it in there as well? He was his former manager at Watford.
Roberto Edwards,
Only for a short amount of time, but it was, yeah.
short and sweet. Or not so sweet, shall we say. Morsey, did you have a third one for us?
Third one. I know Nat's really looking forward to this one.
I don't know who it is. I'm dreading it, to be honest.
This one, I think after Saturday, it's going to be
James
last day.
Milner.
Yeah, James Milner. No, I think purely for the fact I think it's more than likely based on their transfer activities and be available on a free. And I think for a punt, no matter what think it's a punt on a free, and especially if we're going to continue playing with two strikers up top with a big man. I think I'm going to throw in Callum Wilson. The transfer that should have happened 10 years ago.
It should have happened 10 years ago. Why did we sign Leon Clark other than Callum Wilson, Matt? We signed the
And I
wrong
think
striker.
West Ham have already signed two strikers, haven't they, on the 5th. I think I've read somewhere today that they're speaking about his future, which suggests he's available on free. I think if you need a goal, I still think if we've got two up top, obviously try to leave a line on Saturday, and he can't do that, can he? That's not his game. But playing off a big man, someone you can just stick him in between the box. And I think if we did go down, he would get us 15 goals in the Championship next year. So I think on a free, need to fill the homegrown quota, and a little something we're missing because all our strikers are big men.
But he's on a big wage, though, isn't he? To be in the Championship, do you reckon?
And he's heavily incentivised because of his fitness issues at Newcastle.
Minutes played.
Would we create the chances for him as well? But you'd think that in the Championship that we would be a bit more open flowing team, wouldn't you? So, and again, we could still stay up now. So if Larson was to go, I wouldn't say no to signing Callum Wilson because he's proven it this league, isn't he?
Free transfer, 18-month contract, incentivised.
I think
we
obviously
could do a lot worse.
I think if he moved here, we'd have to pay some sort of money for him, but I don't think it would be a huge fee.
Huge fee. No, I think they want to get him off. I think they want to get rid of him. They've signed two already.
I read today that he's trying to get out for free. I don't know who it is, but I'm sure it was on Sky Sports, that he was trying to get out for free just so we can play.
Is he
Just
from
needs to
Coventry?
Run out nicely then, doesn't he? He'll let him out his pocket.
Yeah, boy. I scare all just chuck him back in the training ground. Is he from Coventry, Callum Wilson?
Yeah.
Moving back home. Ish. An error up the road. Kind of makes sense, doesn't it, really? I'm not, do you know what, Mus? I'm not displeased with that one. Nath, 33, 183, come on.
50-50 on that one. I wouldn't have him as a regular. I'd chuck him on for the last 10, 15 minutes in games.
I reckon you've done
look
better
at
than
it
expected
moment,
there, Mus.
We play, 5-3-2, which changes in and out of possession. You're asking him to play out top with Solly, he's got to play as a left winger for half the game. Come on. Unless we drastically change the system again. But in terms of you looking for a striker to go and score goals and have a knack for scoring, I get that mindset. But at this moment in time, we're not the club that's creating the chances. Otherwise, Strand Larson would be scoring because he was doing exactly that for us last season now. So it depends how you want to look at it. I definitely think he's got a year left in him in the Championship. But I think at this moment in time, with how we're set up, don't know.
Don't want Callum Wilson.
There's worse shouts. We'll give you that more. I'd rate your sort of shouts towards us with transfers 6 out of 10, 6, 7.
You're a hard man to please, so I'll take it.
No, you know what? I'm actually quite happy because I was expecting you to be bottom of the pack 2 out of 10. Just your experience and know.
Take that as a win, boss, if I was you, mate.
Yeah,
I think you've pleased him. Liam, shall we move on to your second pick, mate?
Yeah, I had one more, and I was trying to look at like an attacking player that was real cheap for someone that we were saying that we've got no money to spend unless we sell players. He is an arm grown. I'm sure he was at Ivory Coast on their reserve team, but you'll probably heard of him if you're playing Football Manager. But Parfait Guagon for Charleroi, a winger, 24 years of age. He's got 6 goals, 2 assists for a middle to low team, to be fair. But the one that impressed me the most was this was before Man United's game, and he was similar to what Mane is doing. So he's got 51% successful dribbles and ball recoveries. He's got near enough to 5 a game, and I was just like, that was the type of player similar to Mane that I'd want to come in there to give us a bit of energy at home. I haven't seen too much of him play. It's just going off highlights and stats that I've seen of him, but I was just thinking someone who's quite cheap, no risk, could come in, do a job in a position where we do need some bodies. And I just wanted someone who was a bit brave on the ball and someone who, again, bringing what Mane is coming in. I can't believe I keep talking about an 18-year-old kid, but someone who does track back and win the ball and get us out the pitch, I think is what the Wolves fans would absolutely, love to see in their team to happen. So he was just a bit of a rogue shout that I thought, for quite cheap. I think they sold Bale to Watford for like 5 million. So he's not going to cost a lot. So yeah, he would be my third pick just to give someone cheap, just to get him in like straight away sort of thing.
I'm displeased with it, to be honest, mate. I don't mind the unknown players coming in. And I think he's a player who will probably come in and have to prove himself massively. But someone who's coming in from leagues that aren't in the top 5 leagues, they always bring that physical presence with them. That they run for every single ball. They try to bring you forward. They want to do something. I remember when Chiquinho came in and he was just an unknown youngster, and he just tried stuff on the pitch, and even if it didn't come off, the same as what Mane's doing now, he'd always track back, and then he would go again, and he didn't knock his confidence. I don't think it's a bad shit at all. I also know who your other pick was, because we spoke about it before, from Portsmouth, so I like this one better.
Literally tried to look at the leagues to see who we could kind of afford that was doing similar to what Mane is doing and winning the ball back and having the most successful dribbles, and he was one of them that popped up there, and I was like, that's the type of player that I think we need another one in there just to help us out with.
I was really hoping you'd throw Sterling in again, man. I was hoping for that.
Mate, you got an even better shout from Portsmouth.
Mate, Josh Murphy is a forwarder for Portsmouth, I'm telling you now.
No.
God. Do you know what? I love William. I don't think I want Josh Murphy at the club. I'll go with this one. I like it. I like the suggestion because I think, again, anyone who could come in and show a bit of fight towards the team, even if he comes as a season and he doesn't quite cut the mustard, you've not really paid too much over the top of him, have you? Nat, you got a third one for us?
I've got a third one, and I'm ending with a big signing, mate, I'll be honest. But an exciting one. And I have chose a man that scored against the ship tonight, Abdul Fatawa from Leicester City. My rationale, obviously, playing in the Championship, will, if he stays at Leicester, be playing in the Championship next season. A player that wants to go and get at people. Young, I think he's 21, excellent with the ball at his feet, very forward-thinking, positive, eye for a goal, loves a worldie, but also at a club that are under pressure to sell because their finances aren't great. Again, another club where, similar to your shout with Alabiusu at Blackburn, the club are in turmoil. Fans are protesting against ownership. They've not done a lot in the transfer window this year, so they would probably be open to selling for the right price. The problem you'd have is, again, I'd imagine there'd be a few teams that are looking at him thinking he could make the step up and do a job for us, mid-table clubs or maybe foreign clubs that are on the cut of European football and move to France, for example, etc. But I think he's one that would be really promising, could have an impact in both leagues. It would just be potentially getting him to do another year in the Championship should we be relegated. But yeah, I'm a believer. I told everyone that we're back, so I'm going to be brave with my prediction. Brave footballers that want to go and do something well. How about that one for you, mate?
Matt, yeah, he's absolute baller, isn't he? Do you reckon we'd pay the price? I'm not quite sure, but yeah, I'll take him any day of the week in that team for sure.
Yeah, he's on a long contract, should I say. I don't know about a big contract, but I think he's contracted till 2029. Sorry, my battery's going to die. Contracted till 2029, so it would depend on what sort of fee they'd want. Like I said, I think they would definitely negotiate because the financial situation's really poor at Leicester, isn't it? So yeah.
I think there's Prem suitors as well for him. I've seen Bournemouth and
Who?
But like we said before, though, these young players, like, rather than just jumping the gun and going to teams where them sat on the bench every week, like, it'd be nice to see these players have 2 or 3 years where they're just literally, like Eze for QPR, how many years he was there, just absolutely ripping it up week in, week out, and now look at him. You know, he can do it every game, can't he?
What I will say, Danny, is I did also see something come out today that Bournemouth aren't going to spend big, even if they sell Semenyo for 50 million, because they're not actually able to.
financial fair play. They spent a lot now with Evan Nilsson and Truffert and
Yeah, so I saw that today. So
Diakata.
maybe that rules them out. So the way I see it is, if we beat Everton on Wednesday night, then we get him.
Salt.
Yeah.
1v1. I'm all in
Excellent.
for it. Carter, I love that shit. I love Fatawi. I didn't even like try and class him because I just thought I think he's probably destined to be in that upper echelons of Europa fighting teams. I could see him at a team like Newcastle per se, to be honest. Because I don't think the move for Ananga's really worked out there, and I could see them maybe moving on from him to someone like Fatawi. But if we could get him, that would be unbelievable.
A pessimistic man called Alex Moore once told me, if you don't buy a ticket, you don't win the raffle.
Speaking of that, what do you think, Boz?
What do I think? I think he's a great player, but then, like, what are the clubs saying we're not in that market anymore? And then reading that, obviously on Eve Touch, but then they're wanting £30 million for him.
You saw that? Is that Gospel.
It's the only number I'm seeing.
Depends who you ask.
But then, yeah, I think that's a great play, but then sheer economics, isn't it? Like, we're not in the market for that kind of player anymore.
Yeah, right. We'll move on to my last player. I'll tell you what then, boys. You think Nat's gone big for his... No, to be fair, Nat's is probably a little bit bigger. Oh.
First time I've heard that.
Yeah. I have gone for a player who's currently playing in the second tier of Spanish football, which probably means, a lot of people have gone, no, we know what's the name from the second tier of Spanish football. Yeremy Hernandez from Espanyol. No, not Espanyol. It's not Espanyol at all. Yeremy Hernandez from Deportivo La Coruña, who I'm thinking of. He's a left winger. Currently got 7 goals, 6 assists in 20 games this season. By a left wing, he could play striker, he could play in a 10. At 23 years old, bags and bags of potential. Honestly, I can see this guy really, really tearing the house. Surely he's going to have a big move this season. His numbers are absolutely fantastic. He averages, again on his stats, because I love his stats, 3 dribbles per game, with a 55% success rate. He has 1.65 chances created per game. He's good at the diags off the left-hand side as well. I think he can play left wing-back as well. And honestly, it's not just his offensive work that's brilliant. His defensive work's brilliant as well. He's really good at tracking back. He's won 6.88% of his duels. And he's only like a small frame as well, Yeremy. He has 3.88 ball recoveries from that left-hand side. I mean, successful passes, 25 per game, average, 84% success rate. And honestly, this guy, he's going to go to the moon, I'm telling you. And I first heard of him from Football Manager. He was a wonder kid. I think it was this year. He's come onto the scene. But not just from Football Manager, like, I've kind of kept up with what he was doing because I have a soft spot for Coruña. And I really like him, man. I really like Yeremy Hernandez. Now on my field, so you've never heard of him, and he's not going to go to the moon, and I sound like a fool.
I've never heard of him, mate, but I will watch Espanyol's. I mean, Deportivo's games
Cheers,
in
mate.
the near future.
Mate, he's honestly, get to know. He's a really, really, he's got a really good potential, and I believe there's a lot of decent clubs sniffing around him at the minute. I think his transfer value, he's 23. His transfer value is already up to something like 15 to 18 million. So it kind of tells you the level of player that he is.
Does that roll him out more?
Yeah.
He's playing for a team as well, though, that their fans are quite expectant, aren't they? So he's playing for a team where, at home, he's going to be used to having pressure on him, and they're doing quite well. And they've got a striker, they've got a weird name, hasn't he? That one of the striker that plays for them as well. He's up there with scores like leaving a favourite week because I have my goal scoring. But yeah, I'd like to say I'll take anyone up there who looks like they can dribble with the ball and take someone on. So yeah,
I've enjoyed that. That's anyone have one of your suggestions or one of my suggestions that you think is the one that Moore should potentially go for? Any standouts?
Just looking at Moores, and I'm so tempted to just throw one of his names.
Harrison Reid.
I'd take him, mate. I would take him.
Yeah, old as well.
I don't know. It's Wolves. No, it's a bit concerning that no real rumours come out other than Calvin Phillips earlier.
Yeah, I saw Calvin Phillips earlier.
it depends on the ambition, doesn't it? If they are serious about obviously either staying in the league or getting their team ready now, so next season we can have a go at it. I don't think it's there. I don't think there's any ambition there anymore. Hopefully I'm wrong, but I can't see us making that many transfers in this window.
No. Boys, I appreciate that. I am going to say, I think out of all of the transfers, my top one, realistically, because I would like to say Fatawi, but I don't think he's realistic. I would like to say Jonathan Rowe, because I did the research on him. I really like that shout. Liam.
Real recognises real.
Liam, anyone you stands out for you? Other than the ones that you picked?
No, because I don't think that like I said, I just don't think that the ambition is there, and I can't see us signing anybody, to be honest with you.
No. Morse?
I think I'm the same. I think the one that stands out is obviously Callum Wilson, isn't it?
Of course you pick his own. It was only even going to be 1-1.
No,
wasn't it?
in all seriousness, I do like what Jonathan Rowe showed. Again, looking into it, he's right that they don't pay as much as I thought they initially did.
Cheers, mate.
It makes it a lot more feasible. And I think he's an X factor, isn't he? He can win us games.
Someone off the left who can take a man on would be nice, to be fair.
Yes.
I like someone on the right who can do the same thing.
The sin. Gary O'Neill is in talks to go to Strasbourg to replace Liam Rosenior.
Glory to God.
Well, if he was first choice for our job, he can't be too bad, can he?
Twice.
I'm glad he's going there, so he's got no chance of coming back here.
Well, he's going to then go to Chelsea then, won't he? In a
I was
year?
about to say, he's going to be the future Chelsea manager after that shambles that he's had with Wolves. Boys, thank you very much for that today. Much appreciated. I've enjoyed having a little transfer special as well. It's nice to come on after a win. Long way to continue. And I thank you again all for your time. We'll be back again after the Everton game. Not quite sure when we'll be able to get the video out. But can we get some score predictions very quickly before we leave?
Win.
Matt, Liam, 2-1 win. Any goal scorers?
I think Tolo gets on this game. Tolo and Mane again.
Man. Nat?
I'm optimistic. I just can't settle on the scoreline, but I don't think there's a better time to play Everton. We've not really done much for preview. They're missing a lot of players in AFCON. Dewsbury Hall's out. I think Michael Keane's made the game now because he played this weekend, I believe. But yeah, no Enjoy, no Ghana Gay, no Dewsbury Hall. I'm going to back us to win 1-0. And I'm going to say that João Gomez will score.
Go on then. Moors, thanks for your positivity today, mate. It's much appreciated.
Maybe you'll be surprised to hear that it's going to carry on.
Go on, man.
Well, I think we'll get 1-1. I think it'll be a really good point going there, getting a point. Goal scorer will be Santi Bueno off corner.
Not mad about it, to be honest. He's
Then I
coming.
do struggle against, if I start with better physical strikers, don't we? We do struggle.
He's uncomfortable, isn't he?
Yeah, probably.
Man, Mosquera's going to absolutely nail him first touch.
Yeah, Moors, if you don't know, get to know he's the Colombian prince.
He's from Colombia. He'll effing murder Mosquera. Whoa.
Nice. Get that started in the save plan.
Well, let's have it.
Yeah, 1-1, be a good point. Keep the positive run going.
On,
But yeah,
on the
mate, I
new
bet you'll
code.
be happy when Everton score as well, won't you?
Yeah, got predictions right, yeah.
Yeah.
He's whacking a tenner on it after the game, before the game now. I'm going to go with I don't know what I've been. I think I've had some of that good stuff. What Mosquera's been having. I'm going to go with a 2-0 win for Wolves. I'm going to go with the Colombian man himself. I'm going to go Mosquera gets one,
Love
please.
that.
And Tolu Aragudaro. I think he might be able to bully Michael Keane.
He deserves a goal, man. And I, for
Needs
one,
one.
am gagging for a bit of tea time.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
save from Mario.
Right, boys, thank you very much for coming on. It's 11:30. It's time for bed.
Well past my bedtime.
Well past it, mate. If you think that Callum Wilson's coming in on free.
Yeah,
Thank
nice.
you again. Thank you again, boys. Thank you to everyone for listening. Make sure you continue to subscribe, share, and like the YouTube channel. Follow our socials for all the good stuff. And it's transfer window time, so make sure you get involved with our socials because we'll be trying to report as much as we can, as and when we can. Thank you again, and we'll see you next week.